I am so excited to be here today with my very own bookkeeper, Stephanie, who is the founder of Financial Design, which provides outsourced bookkeeping services, controller services, and operational support to growing businesses. Stephanie has 15 plus years of accounting experience in various industries and a passion for educating, challenging, and coaching business owners so that they can reach their financial goals. Stephanie, thanks so much for being on the show today with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on the podcast and to get to know your audience. I am so thrilled to be able to talk about some of the things that I love the most, which are finances, bookkeeping, accounting, profitability. So thank you again for having me.
Now, I found Stephanie in 2020. Obviously, we were all panicking. And I had just ended a relationship with a current bookkeeper, and I was scrolling YouTube to try to figure out how to file my PPP under QuickBooks and panicking. And I found Stephanie, and it was just immediately a breath of fresh air because, like I said, she has this passion for educating and coaching business owners where you really feel like she's right beside you in your business. Stephanie, what made you want to go into business on your own and take this on as your career?
Well, I was in corporate for a very long time. I started my career in accounting and got bored very quickly because it was the same old every single month. Then we moved into audit, and I loved being an auditor. It was a passion. I loved that every audit was unique and different. However, I traveled a lot. And so what really changed everything for me was when I had my daughter. I couldn't be gone, 3 weeks out of the month, and I didn't want to do that. So I left my corporate job and became a stay-at-home mom, but that really didn't last very long. Being home with my daughter was awesome, but I still wanted that stimulation. I wanted to still do what I love doing. And back then, 7 years ago, there wasn't this remote opportunity like there is now. A lot of CPA firms wanted you to go into the office, very traditional. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, I really want to do something at my own schedule. I don't want to go back into the office. So he was the one that recommended me starting my own business. And at first I was really intimidated, like, oh my gosh, what does that entail? Opening an accounting firm, where do I even start? And so I just started at the beginning, like, okay, let's do a legal entity. Let's open up a business checking account, and just took it day by day. It wasn't too overwhelming. I let people know through social media, hey guys, I've left my corporate job, starting a business. If y'all need help, just reach out. And it worked. Like, people started reaching out to me, and that imposter syndrome is some serious stuff. Like, I felt like, why are people, talking to me about their finances? I'm just getting started. But I went back to what I knew to do. I have an accounting degree. I worked as an accountant, and it was just simple. It all started with my clients is, are you budgeting? How much money are you bringing in? If you can't answer that question, if you don't know how much money you're bringing in, or what your expenses are, then we need to backtrack. We need to start at the beginning. And that's what we did. And I started to grow. The problem was in Tulsa, everyone knows everyone. It's a big city, but it's a small town feel. And so if your parents had an accountant, that's who you went with. So trying to get new accounts in Tulsa was really frustrating. It was who you knew. And in 2019, we decided to go virtual. So we prepped from the summer of 2019 into 2020 or into the end of 2019 and launched our virtual accounting firm in January of 2020, which honestly was the best decision we ever made. Started YouTube, started the funnel, and started reaching people outside of Tulsa, which was our goal.
That's amazing. And that's how I found you. And I remember when we had our meeting and you said, I used to be an auditor. I was like, done. Because you want someone on your team who knows all the sides of the coin. And as small business owners, as creatives, as floral designers, we are so wrapped up in our business. We are so busy. The last thing we have time for is bookkeeping. In fact, I was just talking to a flower friend the other day. She's like, Francesca, I don't even know how much money I make. I don't even know about my expenses. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. And everyone that tells me that, I'm like, you go see Stephanie, because I still remember spending every single Sunday, 8 hours going through paperwork, trying to figure out this tax, trying to file this thing, trying to pay the fines for being late for something else. And just the moment you get your first client, you're spending money, you need to hire a bookkeeper. That's, in my opinion, that's when the time to do it.
Absolutely. And really partnering up with the right firm is going to make or break your business. Establishing a relationship up front with a healthy bookkeeper and knowing that that is part of your operating expense is going to help you. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses start to make money, and just like the money's coming in, it's going out the door. And so there's two types of people. And this is something that I ask up front is, do you want to grow a business? Or are you just pulling money out of the account? Do you just have a job? Because they're two separate things. When you're growing a business, you have to reinvest back into the business. Yes, no one's working for free. And I get that we need to live off of our business. But in the early stages, learning that you need to reinvest back in the business is the only way to grow the business. And so when you have those types of people that are just starting off, I recommend let's start working together. A good firm will grow with you. And that's something that we're constantly changing as well. So our pricing strategies are changing, they're evolving to grow with our clients, because a business that's just getting started can't afford to pay the price of a business that's been established for 10 plus years. It's completely different. The needs are different and the transactions are different, right? When you're just getting started, it's very small transactions that are coming in and out. You have maybe 2 or 3 clients. When you're established and you have, reoccurring income and you have, 6 hotels that you're partnered with, it's very different. So when you're looking for a bookkeeper, my advice to you is who's going to grow with you? Do they have a plan that's tier pricing? When you first start, it's this pricing, but as you scale and as you grow, yes, your bookkeeper is going to grow with you. They're going to be charging you a little bit more, not because they want to, but because the level of work is changing. And so understanding that up front, I think is going to help a lot of people. So when you're looking for a bookkeeper, ask about tier pricing, ask about fixed pricing. We started with hourly pricing. And one thing that we learned from our clients is that they don't like it, because they don't want the rate to change month over month, right? They want to know exactly how much it's going to cost them to be working with you. And so we had to pivot, we had to change because of that, because, it's my job as the accountant to know how much it's going to cost me to work with you. And so a good bookkeeper understands their pricing strategy, just like you as the business owner need to understand how you price your clients. So pricing is key. And when you're interviewing bookkeepers, ask about pricing, because that's going to dictate your relationship, right? If you get in over your head and you can't afford them, the relationship is not going to last long. And bouncing around from bookkeeper to bookkeeper is going to cost you a lot of money, because we all have our own ways of doing things. And so for us, we require the business account to be in right standing, meaning there's no old transactions that haven't cleared, the books are clean. And if they're not, we charge you to clean them up. We have to get everything in the right standing to be able to start processing you with our other clients. And so understanding that if you can vet your bookkeepers up front, it's going to save you a lot of money down the road.
I also love that you mentioned find the bookkeeper that can grow with you. I've had bookkeepers in the past and they were great for where I was at that time. But as I outgrew them, it really caused a strain on the relationship. There wasn't great communication. And it wasn't until we started working together, and it is this tier pricing of, when we first started, I was shifting from service-based business to now online business. I'm sure 2022 is going to look completely different than 2021 versus 2020. And so you want to make sure that whoever you're essentially bringing onto your team not only has your best interests at heart and not only understands what they're doing 100%, so you don't even have to think about that and burn any brain calories, but ultimately they're going to be able to grow with you as you grow, because ultimately their goal for you is to just continue to grow. And I think that's so important that you mentioned that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think your timing was surreal going into the virtual world in 2020. And I'm sure it has really affected the way that you now do business in 2021 and the type of clients that you want to work with, especially after this kind of like post-pandemic. How has it changed the way that you've moved forward and kind of the goals that you've set or the type of clients that you want to work with?
So our clientele really is, we have all types of clients. So we were in the construction, we were heavily in the construction clients. So we had a lot of project tracking and a lot of cost tracking with our clients. And so I've slowly shifted more into the service-based business. It's the type of people that I like to work with because that's what I do. And so I'm an expert in my field, and I'm able to communicate and share with people, that area. So we've completely pivoted to more service type businesses. They do have some products, you're a great example. You provide a service to your audience, but you also have products and other resources that you sell. So I love working with people, in the digital world. Right now, one of our clients has a remote dental back office. And so our business models are really close together. And so I would have never ran into her if I wouldn't have gone virtual. So one of the things we're working with her is creating that consistent revenue, that, getting those contracts in place so you know exactly who your clients are and how the money's coming in. And so working with the service industry has really impacted my business, because now I know the amount of time it takes me to work on these clients. The construction industry was great, but they had so many invoices coming in. The level of transactions were crazy, plus the job costing. So it wasn't just the business, because we do financials for the business overall, but it was down to the project level. So if the client has 12 projects, we're budgeting for 12 different projects to make sure that the projects are profitable. And so it was great experience, but it's kind of in the past now. So now we're gearing towards how can we reach the social media market, the influencers, the hotel florists. That's been a really fun industry for us. Doctors, lawyers, all of the different, there's so many different industries, but here's the key for us. The accounting is the same. I don't care what industry you're in, your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement are all the same. And so the joy I get is to be able to share those financials with the clients and see their eyes lit up. When I get to tell a client, hey, we finally reached our goal, you made $10,000 this month. Let's keep up the good work. That's a great call. That's a great moment. And to be able to see that on paper, that's what motivates my clients to keep going. Because once that 10,000 drops to 8, it's like, all right, what happened this month? Well, this and this happened, because things happen, right? Sales go down, marketing dollars don't get allocated, to the right buckets, whatever. But seeing them motivate themselves, because I don't set goals for my clients. We set the goals together. They tell me what they want to get out of their business, and then we execute on that. So I probably went off tangent a little bit, but that's what I love to do. And so being able to share that with the client, because they're the ones putting the hard work. They're the ones that are putting all those hours in, and not being able to quantify that's where burnout happens. That's where people start to really feel like, is this even worth it? And sometimes you need those reports to say, okay, we're hemorrhaging funds in this area. Can we back it off? And once you start to back it off, whoa, things completely change. Your cash flow statement looks awesome. You're not dipping from your personal account into your business account. That's where the magic happens. That's where growth happens.
I know that every time we talk, I'm always like, what can we cut? And Stephanie's always like, you're so scared. Like, we can't cut anything. Like, you're already bare bones. Yes. So I love the numbers. I always have a separate spreadsheet for myself, a profit and loss. I've already done a podcast episode on it before. Profit First, which is taking your profit first in your business. I fully believe that every business should be profitable, because it means that they're sustainable. And so that is very, very important to me. I literally started with negative net profit when I started following the Profit First method. And now I have very healthy margins in my business. I want to circle around. You mentioned consistent income and why it's so important. And that is literally, I practice what I preach. I teach florists on how to make consistent $5,000 months with hotel partnerships. Tell me from your perspective, from the numbers perspective, why consistent income is so important, especially when it comes to profitability for a company.
Consistent income is game changer. It's really hard for people to be able to budget anything when you don't know the income that is coming in. And so having that, it's almost like a security blanket, knowing on the first of the month, $5,000 are going to come in, and then that's our margin to play with. Those $5,000, how are we going to break that $5,000 up to where you can run your business? So for us, I'm going to use as an example, we have contract bookkeeping clients. That's my consistent income. I run my business on that. The consulting, the programs, anything on top of that that is variable, I don't budget that money. That's extra. That money goes directly into my pocket as profit. And so having that reoccurring money helps the business be able to plan for the future. Everything that we do at Financial Design 2021, 2022, 2023 is all based on that contract. All of my monthly clients. That's how I run my business. All the extras, all the programs that I do, the consulting, all of that is just extra money because I can't quantify that. I can't say, okay, this month I'm hoping and praying that 4 consulting clients come through. You know what I mean? It's out of my hands. And as an accountant, I'm a type D personality. I like things structured, or type A personality. I like things structured, and not having that it just drives me crazy. And so with my clients, a lot of them do have contract work. Their problem isn't the monthly reoccurring revenue. That's not their problem. Their problem is, when does that money come into the account? Because you can have a contract with someone, but if they're paying you 30 days late, then that messes up everything. So for me, it's not just reoccurring money, it's reoccurring revenue on a specific date. So how do you get that contract to sign an ACH form, to have you process their money in your account on the first of the month? That's what I teach, because that's where you can plan. It doesn't matter if you have $10,000 of recurring revenue if your client doesn't pay you on time or pays you whenever they want. But it's your responsibility as the business owner to set that expectation. So when you're onboarding a client, part of your contract needs to say, this is how much money will be withdrawn from your account on this day, because that's recurring revenue.
Yeah. And it is a game changer, especially if you're looking to grow a business. Now, it's different if you're just looking for your business to give you a job. Like you said, it's a completely different mentality, completely different set of goals. But if you're looking to grow your business, the other thing I love about reoccurring revenue or consistent income is that you can stop worrying and spending time on how to find new clients, how to market. Then your brain starts freaking out. You go into scarcity zone. You start shaming yourself. All of a sudden, you're not a leader in your business anymore. You are literally spending all your time worried about how you're going to pay bills, how you could never possibly hire someone. Therefore, you have to do everything yourself. You get burnt out. You don't spend time with your family. What was the point of becoming an entrepreneur? So I firmly agree that whenever you have consistent income, you literally are buying yourself headspace where you can go to sleep at night. You know that, I like to call it, the nut is covered. Your people are paid for. You can buy products for your client. It's up to you to contract terms, how they work best for your business. There's no miracle equation out there, but for us, we get paid up front for the month. That way I know all the money is in to take care of, buy all the flowers that I need to buy for the hotel. So if I have to buy flowers 4 or 5 weeks out to get the best price, 2 or 3 weeks out for that month, then I know the money is there. I'm not chasing someone at the end of the month. And also I show up as a more confident service provider because I actually feel really good that I got paid to actually do this job. And there's a lot to be said about that. Too many of us are doing too many things for free, and we've got to stop that.
I agree. 100%. 100%.
So I'm sure a lot of people listening to you right now can totally relate to your journey on how you started your business, now what you do, and how you help other small business owners. What is one thing that you wish you would have known when you started your career?
Oh, that's a great question. I wish I would have priced myself correctly. So a lot of people, when they first start, again, it's that imposter syndrome. So my first account, I think, was $30 a month.
Sorry, I have to laugh because
Yes.
we've all been there, but I'm sure you're like
Yes.
cringing still to this day.
Yes, absolutely. I was like, what was I thinking? But it was that imposter syndrome. Like, who wants to hire me? It was insecurity. It was, I'm a new mom. I was trying to juggle the whole business and having a client and doing what's best for my client. So I was providing so much value, so much resources. And I was making, I can't even quantify because I wasn't tracking my time, but I can't even tell you that I was probably making like $2 an hour. And so it was a learning experience, right? And so understanding your value, pricing your services correctly is going to save you in the long run. Luckily, my contracts were only 6-month contracts. And so I was able to start to slowly increase those rates. But starting at the bottom is very difficult for you to justify why your $30 a month client is going to be 60 or 90 or 100. They're like, whoa, why are you doubling my rate? You're not doing anything different. You know what I mean? And so pricing yourself up front, understanding your value, that's the key. And you're going to get a lot of no's. So once you price yourself and they're like, no, that's too much. No, that's too much. Start to find that sweet spot, because what is the client willing to pay? But are they your ideal client? So the $30 a month clients are not my clients. They're just not. And so finding the right client, finding your avatar, and pricing yourself correctly is going to set you up in the future.
I love that you talk about this because I had a similar aha moment. I remember sitting on my couch. I had a studio in Dubai, studio in Houston, studio in Dallas, had all the big name clients, and just felt like I was bleeding money. And I remember sitting on the couch and I looked at my cat and I was like, I will make more money today if I just stayed home and hung out with my cat than like if I actually went to work and brought the people in and I paid them and bought all the flowers and I did the work. And that's when I've got to pull the handbrake. Like this is not helpful at all. I need to price myself properly. If they don't want to work with me, that's fine. I truly believe there's a buyer at every single price point. The only difference might be timing, but we don't control timing anyway. So it's getting on alignment with who you want to buy from you. So you have to get on their level. You have to brand. So it's a brand that they would recognize, that they would know, that they would start liking and trusting. And so the price point you get to set. And we often forget that as new business owners, and we somehow give away our power because we're so desperate to get clients for validation that we, in fact, are a business owner. But you come with the strengths, you come with the experience, you just happen to do it for yourself now. It's not like you walked out of corporate America and totally lost all your experience auditing, your entire accounting degree. In fact, probably at home, you were a lot more clued in because you had a moment to think. You weren't bombarded with constantly traveling. You picked up on smaller details, and you were actually invested in your client's success because it was a direct correlation to you. And so never forget your power. But like you said, imposter syndrome is something that we've all have to come across and give it a name and tell it to go on vacation in Hawaii and that they don't ever have to come back, because imposter syndrome does not do us any good.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what you're up to now. If people were wanting to work with you, I know not only do you offer, annual bookkeeping services like how we work together, but I also know that you have your YouTube channel, you have a course. I mean, there's so many different ways that people can get more value from you after the show. Tell us how we can find you.
Absolutely. So I give a lot of content, of free content out. I love helping people. And the best way that I found to do that is through our YouTube channel. So if you guys go to YouTube and you type in the search bar, Stephanie Ramirez, Financial Design, you will see my face. And if you click on there, we have resources for at any level of business that you're in. Right now, because of the pandemic, I am completely focused on profitability. There are way too many business owners that are working, 50 plus hours a week and aren't bringing any money home. And so in my profit design session, I sit down with you one-on-one, kind of like this conversation that we're having through Zoom, and we start building out your profit. We set up your QuickBooks, we get all of your accounts in order. I tell you how many bank accounts you need to go open up, and I teach you how to get started with Profit First. And I think that setting up the foundation is key for a lot of people's success. I have consulting options where if you're not quite ready to start working with the bookkeepers, you're kind of DIYing it yourself, but you just need that extra hand-holding or have some questions, you can book a consultation with me and I can help you answer those questions. Now, if your business is, a year plus in, you have consistent reoccurring revenue, and it's time for you to outsource, then schedule a discovery call with me. That is a call where we talk about your business and we see if our firm is the right fit for you. So there's so many ways to get in contact with me. Our website, I believe you have the link to our website, but financialdesign.co. That website has all of our information. If you want to contact me directly, please feel free to do so. All of those contacts go directly to me. I respond. And so I love this one-on-one interaction with my clients. Even though we're a virtual firm, we meet with our clients quarterly just to keep up, to make sure, see what's going on in the business. Are you changing and do you need help with estimated tax? And I get in the weeds with our clients. And that's something that I pride myself to do that. I love the one-on-one relationship with clients. So you guys, if you want free content, check out our YouTube channel and feel free to hit me up on social media.
The YouTube channel is gold. She really does spill so much valuable information out there, especially if, after 2020, you've done anything with loans. I know she tackles a lot, especially when it comes to PPP. So highly recommend to go and check that out. Also, I know that you are providing a 20% off discount for any of the listeners for the Hotel Florist podcast when it comes to that profit design session. I personally run my bank accounts Profit First way. I remember my very first CPA, when I told her I was going to do this, she just thought I was crazy and told me it was never going to work. And then I think within like 6 months, she saw I crossed into multiple six figures and she started doing it in her business as well. And so I highly recommend, if you've got Stephanie here to hold your hand to set up your entire business into Profit First method, then you just go and check that out and you get 20% off. So I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity, Stephanie. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And y'all, if you have any questions, you can also find her on Instagram, send her an email, go find her on YouTube. We put all the details in the show notes, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.